Welcome to this 10-minute mobility follow along to help aid in some lower back pain relief or tightness. So we're going to start in a supine figure 4 position. Cross one foot over the opposite knee. Pull that knee in towards your chest until you feel a good stretch in the glute of the leg that's crossed over. Stay here for 5 to 6 slow breaths per side. Any movement that we do today, think of it in terms of breaths instead of amount of time. So a 4 to 5 second inhale, followed by a 6 to 7 second exhale, and use this in place of time. After 5 to 6 slow breaths on one side, we'll come out of that position and switch immediately to the other side. Same thing, cross your foot over your opposing knee, pull that knee in towards your chest until you feel a good stretch in the glutes on the bent side. From there, we want to take 5 to 6 slow breaths. Again, 4 to 5 second inhale through the nose, 6 to 7 second exhale through the mouth. We're moving to a hip sleeper stretch, which is a great way to open up hip internal rotation. Start by crossing one foot over the opposing knee. Walk the foot that's still on the ground away from the midline of the body as far as possible. Use the foot that's crossed over as overpressure to kind of help force or push the knee towards the ground. The big key here is to make sure that both hips stay in contact with the ground. A lot of times when you get into the internal rotation piece, the foot that's still on the ground, that hip will try to raise up off the ground. So focus on slow and controlled breaths like we discussed before. Stay here for 5 to 6 slow breaths while keeping the hips on the ground. After 5 to 6 slow breaths on one side, we're going to repeat the process on the other. Again, cross one foot over your opposing knee, walk that foot out away from the midline as far as you can comfortably. Use the top foot for overpressure to press the knee down towards the ground. Again, like before, make sure that both hips stay level to the ground. It's easy for one hip to really get exaggerated high off of the mat. So stay here for 5 to 6 slow, controlled breaths. So we're going to move now to the pigeon, but unlike the traditional pigeon, we're not going to collapse over the front leg. Instead, what I want you to think about is separating the front and back knee from each other as far as possible. Lengthening the spine by pulling your head towards the ceiling. Once we're in that position, you should feel a nice stretch in the glute of the front leg. Then begin the breathing process of 5 to 6 slow breaths in, at a rate of 4 to 5 second inhale and 6 to 7 second exhales. Let's transition to the other side for the pigeon. Same thing as before. Think about separating the front knee from the back knee as far as possible, maintaining a relatively neutral spine that's not collapsed. Instead, think about your head being drawn towards the ceiling, long spine, and then begin the 5 to 6 slow inhales and exhales for the remainder of this time. We're moving back to hip internal rotation with this 90-90 hip internal rotation opener. Start by getting in a 90-90 position, so both knees are at 90 degrees, hands behind your back. Take a deep breath in. Exhale as you rotate your chest towards your back foot. The goal is to keep the front knee on or as close to the ground as possible while rotating the chest towards the back foot. Once you're as far as you can go, begin the 5 to 6 slow inhale and exhales. With each exhale, try to open a little further towards that back foot. Let's switch sides to the opposite side. Same thing as before. Put both knees at 90-90 positions, hands behind your back. Take an inhale, deep inhale. As you exhale, slowly rotate your chest towards your back foot. Once there, continue to do your 5 to 6 slow inhales and exhales while trying to rotate your chest towards that back foot. We're going to transition now to deep squat breathing. This is a great way to kind of tie in everything we've done earlier, also a great way to open up the lower back. So take a deep breath in, exhale as you lower yourself down into a deep squat, and then from there begin the 5 to 6 slow breaths. When you're here, think about breathing into your lower back, and as you exhale, think about letting the lower back relax, round a little further, which is completely safe because we're unloaded, and sink a little deeper into the squat. Make sure you have something sturdy to hold on to give you support so that the balance is not a focus. And after the breaths, come up slowly as you can get a little lightheaded from being in this position for quite a while.